Kingsholm today, but that is a great deal easier said than done. Talk us through it all. Let's hook up with Nick and the boys up in their commentary perch. Nick.
Thanks very much, Mark. Austin will be with us shortly once he's got down. If supporters could club together, though, and buy a win once a season to guarantee success in one fixture, and I reckon from a cherry and white perspective, this would be it. Everyone's been chewing on the odds all week. Everyone's got a point of view. Everyone's evening will be determined one way or the other by the score come 4 o'clock, and the Shed gets one final chance to roar their heroes on the way. So the lineups. Gloucester's headline-making summer signing Jimmy Cowan's poised to make his debut in front of the Shed. The 30-year-old World Cup winner's been training with the club for the first time this week, and he's been thrown straight into the squad. Dan Robson remains the starting scrum half for the time being. Outside him, Henry Trinder replaces another World Cup winner, Mike Tindall. Up front, Ben Morgan's fit to resume at number 8, while Huey Edmund starts at 12. Bath are going to have to do without their injured skipper Stuart Hooper today, so Lee Mears takes over the captaincy and Dominic Day comes into the second row. Otherwise, the pack's the one that saw off Sale a week ago. The second going of Ollie Barkley allows Stephen Donald to step back inside to fly half and gives Sam Vesti his first start of the season in midfield. Boys talking a few minutes ago about the scrap up front initially and how Bath's pack have got to get an edge that might interrupt the flow to Gloucester's lively backs, Ben.
Yeah, and it's a few individual battles for me that are going to be key to who wins this forward encounter. The battle on the far side sees two England hopefuls pair up head-to-head. Wilson is a big man who wants to scrummage and scrummage straight, and he's in a rich vein of destructive form. Wood really has his work cut out and will have to combine with his hooker Edmonds to get to Wilson early and prevent him bringing his hips through and attacking the Gloucester scrum. Atwood knows an awful lot about this Gloucester line-out, and in particular Jim Hamilton. Can the Gloucester captain manipulate his former teammate with some counter-espionage and use that knowledge to send the Bath line-out on a wild goose chase and give Edmonds some margin for error? And with possession such a key factor, the battle in the unseen murky world of the breakdown between two of the league's toughest competitors, Angira and Ferns, will decide which team keeps the ball that those already mentioned have worked so hard to secure.
Well done, Ben. Excellent analysis. And in the backs, there are some great head-to-heads. Not more so than at 10. Burns runs the show for Gloucester, but must have balance between his own endeavours and territorial control. And for Bath, Donald has to perform now. He has a great ability playing flat on the gain line and putting his centres into holes, and he will need to do that. In the midfield, well, it's relatively balanced. 12trees and Vesti had a kicking option, but in Hipkiss and Trinder, both sides have a match winner from distance, and you sense that either defence will need to watch these two more closely than the rest. In the battle of the back three, you give Bath the upper hand. Even with Simpson Daniel back to his attacking best, he'll have to deal with the Bath trio. Whilst they may be small in stature, they are huge in attacking threat. Biggs, Eastman and Abendon are a real unit of strength, and they may well have to just work, though, Nick, off counter-attack ball, but that could just be enough.
We will see. The most inhospitable of away venues, if you're wearing that colour shirt in particular. Kingsholm Venom, always stored up nicely for the visits of this lot, and it is Lee Mears who brings Bath out in the absence of the hamstrung Stuart Hooper. Fixture that's a long way away from being Bath's favourite in recent times. They've won just one of the last 9 at the Rec 3 years ago. They've not won here for 6 years, and it's a slow, studied, controlled, concentrated walk out into the Lions' Den. Special moment for Dave Atwood in particular, former Gloucester man. He admitted that he was almost certainly going to be revisiting fond memories at this time as he wandered out onto the pitch in Bath Blue. Second season trying to fill the boots of Danny Grewcott. 5th against 6th, separated by just a single point. Jimmy Cowan, we'll see a little bit more of him later. He had a big smile on his face as he ran along the Shed for the first time at the start of the warm-up. A view inside the Gloucester dressing room. The 219th Gloucester-Bath derby, the 111th at Kingsholm. A healthy suspicion that stretches back 130 years to the first match in 1882. Took 100 years or so for Bath to overtake Bristol as the team Gloucester wanted to beat most of all.
Just brilliant to see the difference in psychology of the two captains. Lee Mears walks out, winks at the referee, bit of a smile. Jim Hamilton looks like he's going to eat him.
Sure, in the heat of the moment, there's a little bit of bad language that one or two of you might have picked up on, so apologies if that was something you could have done without. But I think we all understand what this match means. Two teams in a similar state of transition, really. New coaches trying to find the quickest way to bed in some new players into new styles. We're already at the quarter-way stage of this Aviva Premiership season. It's flying by. And every season, wherever it falls, Gloucester against Bath, a major punctuation mark and a full stop for the referee. 170th and last Premiership match for Dave Pearson, the Geordie with a smile never far away from the face, which is one of the keys to his success as an official over the last decade or so. He's on his way at the end of this one. We're on our way here, and it promises to be one of the encounters of this early season. It's Gloucester against Bath, and it's Nick Bendinen who will launch Bath's first assault. Paul James provides some muscle, picked up by Claessens. Taken over the line by the other prop, David Wilson. Oh, this is Donald charging for the line. What a start! What a start for the visitors. What a start for the World Cup winner. How to silence the shed.
Brilliant play from Bath. Good use of the forwards on an outside line, which created the overlap. You see James first, then Wilson comes, he runs outside as well, pulls those red defenders in, which means when the ball gets into Donald's hand, there's a big overlap. The defenders start to panic. Wood can't recover quickly enough against the speed of Donald on the outside.
Where did you get that gas from?
And he's through the hole, and the perfect start for the men in blue.
Quickest try of the season so far, less than a minute. Dave Pearson said, where did you get that gas from?
I've got the same sentiments, does really well. 12 trees, takes the inside dummies, as does Wood, and then he finds another gear as he comes through. Excellent finish, well worked try. He does play a lot flatter than other Bath fly halves, and that gives him the advantage, especially when Bath get such good go-forward ball as they did then.
Two props for Bath have been a revolution over the last couple of weeks. Revelation even.
Revolution.
revelation.
I think it's fair to say that Stephen Donald's taken a fair bit of stick since he arrived here just under a year ago. That try took 32 seconds. That is the way to respond. And it beats the previous quickest score, that of his teammate Nick Bendinen, 70 seconds. And Bath already up and running. What a start to this game.
Great take by Taylor as well. It wasn't going to go 10, but he had to take it. He couldn't leave it, or it would have just bounced through. Good focused start from Bath.
With a winger, yeah.
Well, the ball was taken by Donald, and he's in the wars early on as well, and he's hurt himself. He looks dazed. He's very nearly back on his feet, but that will have really winded him. And he does not look well. Play continues. Robson to Freddie Burns as Gloucester try and add a little bit of shape to their own game. Stephen Donald's back on his feet and back in the match, but he's taking a bit of a breather here.
No hands. Yep, play on, play on.
The ball's been whisked away by Mears.
Backwards.
It was spilt by Robson.
Play. Rock!
Helter-skelter beginning to the West Country derby. At the moment, Gloucester have been knocked off balance, and then the kick was charged down
22.
by Skirving.
No, not a scrum.
It's all Bath pressure at the moment. Every time Gloucester have had the ball,
You took it over.
the competition, the feet coming through, hacking through. Donald's in real trouble, just getting his breath back, but people have questioned his bravery and his commitment to the Bath cause. You don't get more committed to that. Eyes on the ball, no question of looking what was coming towards him. Obviously winded himself quite badly, but he'll be loving his start to this game.
Eastman chased down by James Simpson-Daniel. Eastman managed to keep the ball on the blue, black and white side. Hip kiss. Gloucester driving over the top, led by Ben Morgan, the England 8.
Again, James with that outside line.
Donald to Bendenham, the two quickest try scorers so far this season, combining. Bendenham's kick has gone too long.
Bath's first mistake of the day, but they're certainly playing a pattern of getting the ball to James on that first phase, running on the outside line, and then as it comes back, although it goes to the backs this time, Davy Wilson stood ready to take the second ball if required. But unfortunately, the kick from Bendenham just off target. And will that give Gloucester the foothold back into the game that they need at the moment?
Actually part of the Saxons set-up this season. Johnny May and Rob Miller there as well, but Bendenham will be challenging. Now then, first scrum of this afternoon, Ben. Nick Wood up against David Wilson, 1 against 3.
You need to hit Wilson here. Work with your hooker, and they do well. That's a good first hit from Wood. You can see the pressure coming back from Wilson, though. Look at that body shape he's got. They've stood up on the far side.
Mears was popping up as well as 12 Trees got the ball away. And then Monaghan came in.
Let's see that one
was
again.
Offside.
We saw Dave Pearson say before that us pundits have the basis of replays, but it looked like maybe the Gloucester receiver of that offload was tackled slightly early.
12 months ago, Stephen Donald was fishing for whitebait on the Waikato River. It's been some 12 months, Austin.
Certainly has, and when he's got a forward pack that are playing a wrap pattern perfectly, this is what it gets you. Bath have taken it into 2 breakdowns. Now those forwards need to get round the corner faster and fill in this gap. Watch what happens. They don't get there. They don't fill that hole, the third defender, and that's the hole that Donald goes through.
Don't get in it early.
If you get a good wrap pattern, Ben, the forwards really struggle to get round the corner, don't they?
Stay there, Reds.
Definite tactic of Bath's from this first 5 minutes.
Scrum, swiftly followed by the first line out. It was won by Dominic Day at the front.
Keep moving. He's trapped. There. Ball's off the floor.
Claessens will eventually have possession.
Run now, leave it!
Julia Edmonds was diving over the top as well to try and disrupt things, but Skirving it was who was able to come away with it. Now Donald, cross kick, looking for Biggs. It's into the sunshine of the Gloucester defenders, and Rob Cook, full-back today because of the injuries to Ollie Morgan and Johnny May, did well. Jimmy Sharple's not available either, so we're looking at this new face who arrived from the Pirates over the summer. He clears long to his opponent, Claessens. Donald goes high with the ball, and it was Robson who was there bravely.
The Gloucester fans don't like it. They think he was tackled in the air, and I'm pretty sure Claessens had his eye on the ball, just didn't quite get up as high.
12 Trees. It seemed as if he'd got through there, but he slipped just on the 10-metre line.
Well stayed on his feet by Wood to get that drive through.
Lots of numbers on the blind side
here.
here.
Overlap on the left-hand side.
Yep, and that's where they're going with Edmonds. Gets the ball away to 12 Trees. It's going to be a penalty for the tackle that came in from Kyle Eastman.
I'll take that, Andy. That was just for the high tackle. Yeah, I'm just going to penalise that. All right, cool, mate.
Has a word with the touch judge Andrew Pearce on this near side.
Time on.
It's a bad one as well, I think.
Sorry, mate.
Really jumps into the tackle on first watch. That's all around the neck. That's a yellow card.
It's not as though you can give the excuse that
He
I'd get away with that in rugby league because it's an even heftier sanction for a red card in league.
Well, Kyle Eastman can't say that he ducked into me, can he?
Winger, come on. You set it, good.
He was in a difficult position, caught in two minds, trying to cover two players, and the option was a rather desperate one, and it conceded the penalty, and it will cost him a little more.
So they're trying to shift drive, but they ended up driving back over the guys that had been sacrificed, who took the ball initially. And they've got to now restart something with the forwards, playing off little mini rucks.
And Robson, the England under-20 scrum half, being monitored today by an All Black World Cup winner. We will see Jimmy Cowan doubtless at some point. It is Robson initially. He finds the skipper Jim Hamilton, given the job by Nigel Davies this season. Robson to Burns, chip, little chase himself. Claessen's needed to be quick, and it wasn't far away.
Vantage over the knock-on.
Bath can
Hands off.
bring it away. Simon Taylor it was who scrambled over the 22, and Donald who gives it absolutely everything to fire it back at least towards the Gloucester 22. Which is invitingly up for the scrum half. Robson. Where's this kick going to end up? Well, that is just about perfect because it forces Bath to play it. It would have been perfect if they could have shoved Biggs into touch, but they've still got some real momentum going here, and Bath in a bit of a hole down in Cow Corner with the Shed baying for blood, and Donald again. Extra bit of weight on the kick to clear the danger.
Well, that kick wasn't just about perfect, it was bang on perfect. Couldn't have been placed better. Took his time, picked his spot, drilled it, and then kept it on the field of play, right in the corner. It's Lee Mears who has to go back. And because it doesn't go out, he has to play it. A lot of the fans in rugby will often clap when the ball rolls into touch, and it looks great, but it means the opposition get the throw in. This time, Gloucester cover, Donald's under pressure.
Been taken quickly. Edmonds linking up at the front with Hamilton, driven on by Morgan. Robson there. Is this the cherry and white response? 12 trees, weaving one way and then the other. Robson again, and Guerra. Awkward tackle from Vesti that at least slowed down the flow, and Gloucester have been knocked back outside the 22, and they need to reset through Tom Savage and the brightest young lights at the start of their season. Sione Kalamafoni on the burst.
First one was off red. First one
That's
that way.
unlucky from Kalamafoni because he picked a fantastic line. He was going to win that collision, just couldn't hold on the ball.
Time out, Mike, front row.
Austin.
Well, just looking back, we're seeing Gloucester wasting a few opportunities. They had one earlier with the high tackle. All the Bath players are moving to the far side, thinking there's a wrap pattern. Burns spots the hole. Watch him switch direction really quickly. The only issue is he comes down the channel really well, but his main strike runner is a hooker. This is a prime example of why you don't want forwards in the way. This ball goes through the hands. Look at the channel outside. It's a 2 running down the empty channel. Simpson-Daniel in that sort of space causes a lot of damage. High tackle stopped it, but it should have gone through the hands.
That's Stephen Donald, by the way, Ben. Let's just identify him.
You want Simpson-Daniel coming in the field a bit there, because if you use his pace, he's much more likely to get through that first gap, and then you'll try and support him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this guy, I think he's one of the best signings. I think Gloucester have made some really intelligent signings in the off-season. Morgan, Cowan, you get the spine of the team really strong. Edmonds at hooker, although he messed up that opportunity to score a try earlier. We saw him go down, what sort of pace and running ability. They're made to play attacking rugby for Gloucester, and that's what they like down here.
Can I go get on with the scrum?
It'd be a shame for this guy to get injured, Nick, after such a good start. We've given him a lot of flack, and he's been under a lot of pressure, hasn't he?
He's been great so far.
Yeah.
He's been great.
3 this side.
As he was very nearly 12 months ago when he was called into that All Black squad on the way to the World Cup final at Eden Park, and we know what he did that Sunday night against the French, and he'll never forget it either.
Left of it, not on my foot. You want to come up to it?
I think it's fair to say he won't have to buy himself a pint in New Zealand for the rest of his life.
Crouch.
Wilson again against Wood.
Touch. Set.
It's a good battle.
A bit going on the far side. Harden's in real trouble. He popped up very quickly.
3 red.
And he'll say that it was James who popped him up, but James managed to keep his shape, which meant that it was so obvious who had come up. And as soon as it started going forward for Bath, referee had no choice but to give the penalty.
He's tall, Ben, 6'3", for a tight head, which physically, dynamically can create issues sometimes, particularly if the loose head gets underneath.
He's got the size to match it, though, that he should be able to hold himself down. But he's up against a formidable scrummager today, and he'll want to make sure the next scrum he gets spot on, because if you start to crack and you get 1 or 2 line-outs on the trot where you get penalties against you, it's very difficult for the referee psychologically not to think, I know who's on top here.
Mears throws. Does well to find Ben Skirving. Francois Lowe currently finishing off business with the Springboks against the All Blacks later in the championship in Johannesburg. Mears. Creating the link that allowed Ferns to run onto it. Claessens to Skirving again. Embarking on his 11th season in the Premiership now. So much experience. Here goes Atwood.
Hands off!
Almost up to the 22. Donald thought about kicking, decided to pass instead to Vesti, who does kick, and Abendinen chases it, and so does Eastman, who gathers inside.
Yeah,
oh
anyway.
dear, might yet score. Abendinen gathers.
Well, it could be, you know.
Time off.
Well, there was a
Genius.
lot going on, but was what
Genius
was
play
going
by
on
Carl
illegal?
Eastman.
We will find out.
Just brilliant by Carl Eastman to keep that ball in with a little underhand offload infield as he was going out to touch.
Okay, we got.
And I don't think it goes
possible
forward.
pass close to the line here, please.
He could be in touch
And then
as well.
Another possible knock on, just short of the 5-metre line. Please check.
Dave, I'm checking firstly for a forward pass and secondly for a possible knock-on.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
David Grassoff doesn't need to worry about the foot in touch.
It's brilliant play again. They'd created the overlap by getting around the corner faster than Gloucester. Brilliant kick by Vesti, and look at this from Eastman. The little inside ball. Is his foot in touch?
He does
The
need to
referee
wonder
hasn't
about the
asked
foot
it.
in touch. He was in touch, but it's a try. He's 100% in touch here. As he gets control of the ball, his right foot there, is in touch.
It
The
is.
heel there.
But he hasn't asked that question. Great offload. I mean, that is... I mean, Bendenon celebrating rather than following up. He doesn't think there's a chance the ball's going to come to him.
I think he had his hand up because he knew he was in touch, Ben.
Well, David Grassoff will be allowed to rule on the foot in touch if he's seen it.
Even if he wasn't?
Yeah, because that would be a clanger, and which is precisely what the introduction of this TMO system is designed to avoid.
There's a little knock on there.
He's looking at the foot in touch. So as much as Dave Pearson didn't ask, that's what will rule the try out if it is
He's
ruled
got
out.
2 feet in touch, and there's a knock on as well. When they go back to the ball going on the floor, both the guys actually knock it on. Only tiny knock on, but it still counts. You get this from the league boys. I don't know if you notice, when the league boys, especially guys who played out wide, getting that wide channel, they are so good at controlling that space. It's something that Union players could learn a lot from. They can work wonders in 1 metre of space because the amount of time they're at the end of a line, they have to do
I'm
it.
going to rule that the player was in possession of the ball and had a foot in touch.
Thank you. So we're going to go no try, line out, Gloucester ball.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's precisely why the TMO system was introduced. Because if that had ended up being the winning try, that's all we'd have been talking about for the next 48 hours. There's going to be a review of the system at the end of this first group of half a dozen Premiership games, and some things will be ticked positively, some things will be crossed negative, positive.
Absolutely, and another big positive is some of Bath's play and the way they've manipulated the Gloucester forwards and kept them tight and managed to get players wider. Even if they just used them as decoys as they did there, it meant that the backs had to mark the forwards who had gone round the corner. Vesti was given a little bit more space to nudge the ball through, and what a talent that Carl Eastman is.
Yes, try or not, there's, as Austin said, no getting away from the quality that led to the opportunity. A couple of tries already. Made him Bath's top scorer in the Premiership so far this season. And he's starting really to look his part in this strange version of the game that he's getting to know. Getting involved. He looks like he understands where he needs to be positionally as much as anything on the pitch, and it's not as easy as it sometimes sounds, making the switch from one code to the other, but he's well on the way, Kyle Eastman. And the Bendenham was so close to profiting from it a minute or so ago. Here goes Paul James, record 179 games for the Ospreys, giving it a go on this side of the bridge now. Taylor floats it up for Ferns, who's had a blistering start to his season, a season he hopes will be injury-free, unlike last time out. 5 months spent nursing a knee back to full fitness. Dave providing the link. In a handy position, centre field, but that wasn't the greatest of passes from Claessens. Swept up by a Bendenham. Mears was waiting for it. And was that a little bit of obstruction?
No, it was not releasing in the tackle. Good decision by the referee. You see players get away with that too often. Held on the floor. Don't release. He had one knee down, so the tackle's completed. Gloucester's defence, though, Nick, is at 6s and 7s. It's all over the place.
Sparks of attacking impetus from Gloucester have come from a few bits of individual brilliance.
Step down.
Michael Davis and the player coach these days, Mike Tyndall, doing a little bit with the backs on the training pitch at Hartgroup.
Yeah, he's onside.
Claessens was onside.
You read it well,
gathered
Claessens.
anyway. Yeah.
Rock!
Ben Morgan over the ball, trying to hold up David Wilson. And Bath think they might have stolen this back, and indeed they have.
Wait forwards!
Fired it back. Donald with the crossfield kick that Eastman is showing some interest in, and he was right to show interest in it. And Rob Cook was there, and now he got James Simpson-Daniel out of a hole that they would have rather not been in.
I think the King's Own faithful might feel a little bit aggrieved with the way this ball was won. You can see Wilson doing a really good job to stay, but then he goes round the outside and kicks it out. Should really have been a penalty to Gloucester, that. Bath turned the ball over, Wilson gets away with it, and suddenly they're under big pressure on their own line.
Left of it, lads, so we're ahead the gap. Balls to it.
Dave Pearson saying that they have something like 200 breakdowns to rule on over the course of a game.
Lads,
Not going to get them all right, even with the help of the touch judge.
Come on, a bit closer, sir. That's too far. Can't touch.
But you can say that Gloucester didn't do a good enough job of moving Wilson in the first place. He stayed there very easily.
Okay.
Take the referee out of the equation, that's what the coaches always say.
Rio Edmonds, another new arrival in the middle of Gloucester's scrum this season. Italian World Cup hooker Tommaso De Pice started last weekend.
Wilson loses his footing,
Okay, mate.
but certainly Wood won that hit.
Yeah.
Again, with that speed
Just the
we were
ground, lads.
talking about,
Bring
he
it
needs to
in field,
continue that through the 80 minutes. A bit soft of the turf there, so the referee moves them infield a bit. That creates a bit of a blindside for Bath to attack if they don't look to shunt the ball through the forwards. Kyle Eastman just hanging behind his forwards there.
Touch. Set. Go. On the arm. On the arm.
He goes against, not for the first time, Rupert Harden.
Shot. Yes.
Good captaincy by Lee Mears there. Very tempting when you feel like you've got the upper hand as a front row forward to say, let's scrum again. He knows the value that 3 points would have at this stage. Take Gloucester away from 2 scores.
Put it out with the sun, please, Dave. Yeah, we'll do, lads.
This is a look from the opposite side.
Don't forget we're still counting the minute while you're taking your tablets.
It's just the bind. The bind's on the elbow, or nearer the elbow than it is the back.
Lee.
He doesn't agree with the decision.
Just a reminder that Stephen Donald has got 60 seconds to take this penalty. A reminder from Dave Pearson, and while he's having some medical attention as well, that's all part of it. He didn't hang around once the ball was on the tee. And Bath have extended their lead to 10 midway through the first half at Kingsholm. Trinder rose highest. Ball was knocked back, but and it seemed to be knocked forward by Akapusi and Guerra. It's this fourth handling error of the match as Gary Gold and new man who narrowly failed to keep Newcastle in the Premiership at the end of the season. Mike Ford behind him and Toby Booth as well.
Yeah. Flat backs like a top. Let's go, Rang. Crouch. Touch. Set.
Well, Bath lose that hit. Very lucky to get away with it, because James just completely beaten to the hit by Harden that time.
This isn't exactly
folded in.
though, is it? Read out, lads.
Referee gives him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's complaining about some of the calling there from Dave Pearson. James. Bit of pressure on him as he goes into this one, though. Expect him to fly out of the blocks. Make sure he doesn't lose a second hit.
Crouch. Touch. Set.
He was much quicker on that one.
Use it now. Let's get it away. It's stationary. Sorry.
Harden's up again. That's a penalty to Bath this time. James wins the hit. Just marches Gloucester back.
A little bit of a theme developing here, a worrying theme from a Gloucester point of view.
I can give what I can see on this side. That's all I can, okay? I'm policing this side of the scrum at the minute, okay?
Jim Hamilton saying that, in his opinion, Paul James has got his hands on the floor. That's what that little conversation was about. We heard Dave Pearson's response.
It's all right.
Well, before the match, we talked about the desire for Bath's pack to nullify Gloucester's, to prevent the backs getting the bullets that they want, that they could use, and at the moment, that's the frustration for Nigel Davies.
Well, they came into the game, didn't they, Bath, with the best defensive stats all round, but so far, both been good defence and attack.
So Jim Hamilton shifting the defence of the line out. Bath picked that out, managed to get the ball over the top to the back. Good control from that Bath line out.
So it was won by Dominic Day, taken on by Danny Hipkiss. Mears inside, picked up by Skirving. Donald, Cook, well positioned, didn't have to move. In the end, it bounces into touch.
You're in front of it, Nick. Can't take a quick one. You're in front. You're in front of the mark. Bonzi, is that bad up there? Time out, Mike's the hooker.
We're having a little injury break here because Gloucester's hooker, Hugh Edmonds, is the man down. So there will be a little bit of a delay for him. So while he's getting some treatment, let's mark your card programme-wise. Tomorrow we're making our first trip to the Kassam Stadium in Oxford. First look live at this season's New Boys, Welsh against Saracens, 1:30 tomorrow lunchtime. And then once we've had a couple of weeks break for Europe, we return at the Medeski Stadium, Irish against the champions, Sunday, October the 28th, 2:45 rather, ESPN HD. This is a little bit concerning. He's not moved, Edmonds.
Testing his arm strength, so it's either a nerve injury to the shoulder or the neck, probably on that collision there, on the top of his head maybe. You can see he's gone down to his knee.
Yeah, that was the point. He collided with Jim Hamilton.
It's just when you get a little bang on the top of the head and it crushes two facets of your neck together, and you just pinch the nerve and you lose the power. Get a searing pins and needles pain all the way down to your fingers. You could just see the physios just testing that arm strength would come back. because you don't want to be going into the next scrum with not 100% power there to grip onto your own prop.
Something happened to Neil Briggs last week. He ran into Callum Mafoney.
Space Blues. Got them good.
It takes a long time, can take 4 or 5 weeks sometimes if it is a really bad one.
It's a really good kick from Claessens, that. Under a lot of pressure, forwards coming through the line out onto him.
It's the Premiership match now since the end of the 2008-9 season, which, given the position that he plays in, is it's just astonishing.
Yeah.
So much durability. Edmonds takes the short one. Gloucester have possession. Burns doesn't like the direction or the distance he's got on that, and Eastman knocks it back. Claessens to Carl Ferns.
Again, that Gloucester forward the Bath forward running on an outside line to drag in those extra defenders. Try and create that overlap one side or the other.
Full weight.
Donald. And again, once again, it's Cook who has to come outside of his 22 to gather the ball, and he did it well.
Lost 14.
One of the players signed after Brian Redpath left. There was a whole bunch who'd agreed to join before the big changes at the top of the club, but Rob Cook wasn't one of them. He's one of the later signings, and Burns takes his time before firing long. Might have fired too long. It's gone a long way long.
A couple of really loose kicks, just when you need to get your team back with a bit of direction. It's worked so hard to try and get the ball back.
I can't help you with.
Losing the possession battle, Gloucester, at the moment, and it doesn't help if your fly half's going to kick the ball away so loosely.
Played for the Saxons. He won't be getting any more Saxons caps if he can't show control at 10. Everyone knows he's a mercurial talent. He can attack and create things for himself, but the 10, Nick, has to sit in the pocket and move the team around the field like a chessboard.
I've been impressed by George Ford's performance last night, and he's the one who'll be vying with Freddie Burns for that Saxon shirt.
The biggest point is the front row now, who are nervous anyway because the referees started to give penalties against them. They now have a scrum on their own 22, and this could be 3 points if they get it wrong.
That was a mess, lads. We all got out of sync. We all got out of sync.
Forwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Worried about the scoreboard.
Louder still.
Just to complete that point, if you didn't see the game, George Ford played very well, helping to guide Leicester to victory at the Salford City Stadium against Sale yesterday evening.
Crouch.
First opportunity of the season to start ahead of Toby Flood.
Good shove from Gloucester.
Taylor finds Claessens, kick through looking for a Benton, and again Cook well positioned, but he's wrapped up by Eastman.
Run. Stay, lads. Guards on.
Robson to Burns. Now, what about the quality of this kick? Well, it was just anywhere and into touch. One of those challenging 5 minutes.
Just this last scrum, actually, Bath win the hit and try and keep going with their legs, and Gloucester come back at them, get really low underneath. Two props on this side both go to their knees, but much better scrum from the men in cherry and white.
They go, lads.
If Lee Mears might play for England again, you know. Having announced his retirement after the summer and the tour to South Africa, England have got so many problems with the hooking jersey at the moment, and as much as that one wasn't straight, he might be somebody that Stuart Lancaster's looking at. Rob Webber, who might have been playing today for Bath, is one of those injured. Dylan Hartley's got a crack on the eye. He fractured his eye socket in the game we watched last Friday night at Franklin's Gardens. They're running out of options, Ben, in the two-shirt.
Definitely, in his experience, to be around the squad at least would be huge. But
Finding 3. Same call from the far side. 3 not
need a
finding.
green card from the wife after promising her I'm going to be around a bit more. She might be keen to get rid of him by now.
It's penalty going against Paul James. Oz.
Guys, I think Bath are getting away with a lot of the breakdown. You want really secure ball in your own 22. If you watch Taylor here, his foot, he just sends it through and kicks it through. He's not entitled to do that. We saw it at the return over in the midfield with Wilson, and they're doing it at almost every breakdown. They're using their feet and putting a lot of pressure on Robson. You'd think that there's a certain New Zealand fly-off on the bench that won't stand for that, and his experience could be vital in the second half fight back.
Scrum half.
What did I say? Well, he's played both.
Sure, it's a very good play, yeah.
Takes a lot of talent to do that, doesn't it?
Well, to do it well anyway, Austin.
Keep pushing, Ben, keep pushing and jumping.
Nick Wood did some amount of pushing there. And the phone is waiting, but Morgan decided to do the hard work on his own. Robson to Burns, 12 trees. He's got very little change out of Bath's midfield defensively. Donald was up again quickly. Here goes Wood once more.
Entry 2.
Enjoyed his trying the win at the Rec back in February. A win double last season for Gloucester, home and away. Definitely second best here so far, but they're trying to get something going as we approach the final 10 minutes of the first half.
Bigst as well to step in and snuff that breakout. Stepped off his wing, closed down the overlap.
Robson to Burns, misses out Edmonds, picks out Simpson-Daniel instead. He had Morgan up as the muscle in support.
Entry all the way around, please.
But it was an offside from Lee Mears that leads to the Gloucester penalty.
Posts. Blue 2 all the way around, please.
It's really nice hands, actually. You see Mears come over, wraps himself around Wood on the floor. It's a definite penalty, good decision. But then watch how good Bath's defence is. As this ball comes out and they get to the outside channel with lovely little pick-off hands to the outside. Like Ben said, big stepping in. There's 3 players in that wider channel that are free to run. When you make that decision as a winger, you've got to get it right, and he has so far this season.
It's the angle that he stepped in as well, so he almost let the runner go past him, so there's no way he could offload as well.
Freddie Burns' early season form has been about so much more than just the points he's scored so far, and he's got 79 now. But goodness me, how they needed those 3.
Yeah, they need to use that as a springboard now. Play a bit of territory down in the Bath half and get hold of the ball. And just go through the phases a little bit, keep hold of it. Stop Bath coming through at the breakdowns, kicking the ball through.
Sam Vesti with the restart. Picks out the fullback Cook.
Stay, lads. That's what use!
A while before we see Ollie Morgan, who's just off his crutches but a long way away from playing. Johnny May significantly closer to playing. For the time being it is Cook. And he's helped set up this moment as Edmonds continues the thrust out of defence and over the 10-metre line.
Through the contact from Edmonds, and there go again.
Here goes Monaghan, who will take some stopping. There are 3 Bath players there. Monaghan was given time to make sure the ball came back on the cherry and white side. Now Kingsholm in full-throated roar for the first time this afternoon as Trinder tried to find some space. Penalties coming. Robson, Morgan. Eastman stayed on his feet. Robson to Hamilton to Wood, who's lost it, will have the penalty.
No mark.
Wow, fantastic footwork from Edmonds. Watch him just dance through, little change of direction. Pushes, and then they do what Harlequins have been doing so well. They pick and go through the same channel. Bath are still struggling to get their defence in place. Good running from Monaghan, drags in the 3 defenders. In comes Angira to clear out. They get good quick ball. Bath's scramble defence is good. Hipkiss does a good job of slowing this ball down, though probably slightly illegally, which gives away the penalty. But they were in real trouble, Bath, there, if that had come out quickly.
It's kind of statistical confirmation of what we probably all sensed anyway. It's been Gloucester's last 10 minutes. Freddie Burns to cap it. Premiership's top point scorer, pulls the home side a little bit closer to the visitors. 7 minutes to half-time. It's been a good 10 minutes for Gloucester.
Yeah, vital 7 minutes for Bath as well, because if they concede another 3 points and they go in 10-9 after the start that they had, big psychological dent. They need to get down in the Gloucester half, stay there, try and eke out another penalty and take the lead back to 7 points.
Day concentrating on the restart again from Vesti.
Wait, lads!
Just whether Stephen Donald still feeling it a little bit. He's been in the wars, he's been clocked around a little bit of late. Vesti's taken over the job of getting the match underway again.
Look, on that.
Giving Donald just a bit of breathing time to recover his equilibrium, perhaps. This is Ferns.
Don't play it!
Time for Bath to respond. Here is Donald, 2 Mears. Taylor outside, but Hooker took it on, and he does use the Scotsman.
Look, no hands!
Lovely line from Wilson.
Finding the England prop. A turbo-charged drive for the line that led to a try against Sale last week in a similar position at the rep. No going through there, though. And then it's Gloucester who win the penalty.
Easy, lads. Oh, easy.
To Benjamin and Ferns.
He started on his feet. If you'd let it go, he would have had it. Holding on.
Last off their feet. Frustration from Ferns into touch. Austin.
Well, you look at the stats before the game, it says that Bath has got the best defence all round, but pictures say a lot more than numbers can. So you look, they've made one breakthrough, Morgan through the middle, but watch how quick they get realigned, and they give themselves such good width. So from breaking the line once for Gloucester, they have to do it again through Edmonds. Look at the defensive line, perfectly positioned, numbered off really well. So instead of turning one break into a try, Gloucester have to do 2 or 3. So they have to work that little bit harder to get the points. And that's why Bath are so hard to play against this season. Defensively, very, very strong.
They've used that ball to Harden twice really effectively now. Good quick ball off the front, and they're in attacking on that 15-metre line.
This is Harden.
Hughes!
Calamafoni. Tongan given his chance in the Premiership after signing from Nottingham. Championship players making their impact at the very highest level these days, a whole bunch of them representing London Welsh, who we'll see tomorrow. Eastman, looking forward to his first full season as a Union player.
Wait, lads.
Bendon off the left boot, guided into touch. Cook takes the line out quickly. Burns was waiting for it. Back to Cook. Abandoning in with the tackle. The pass was noted as a forward one by Andrew Pearce down below us.
Well, Bendon makes up for his kick with a really good kick chase. It'll please that man, Mike Ford, defensive coach for Bath. Spends a lot of time on the kick chase, making sure that's right. And that wasn't the best of kicks from Bendon because he didn't get it far enough off the field, which meant Gloucester could take the quick throw in.
What will be concerning, if you look at the kick chase, there's only one guy, there's only Simpson Daniel there, everyone else is walking.
Not quite far, that needs to go into the fans, because if it's touched by the fans, they can't take a quick throw in.
It's touched by anyone,
Crouch!
not from a player.
Touch! Set! 3 early. Early.
And it's David Wilson who has been picked up for being a little bit over-eager. Calamafoni drives through. There's the Strokosh along with Luke Narroway, plying his trade with Perpignan these days. 12 trees, held up by Donald, he's lost it. This might be very dangerous. Hit kiss with Biggs crying for it. Where's the pace of the winger? He forgot to kick it almost, but it might yet work for him. Robson went back. Biggs was one of the dominant figures at the ruck, but got to stay on your feet in a moment of potential peril for Gloucester.
I think Biggs would have wanted that ball in his hands. Gary Gold questions the refereeing decisions to Wayne Barnes in the stand there. But I think Biggs would have wanted the ball from Danny Hitkiss slightly earlier. 12 trees hit really well underneath the ball. Taylor does well. Now either Hitkiss has to do more or he has to give it to Biggs a little bit earlier in my mind.
Don't get in early,
There's a knock-on from Biggs as well, because you've got to kick it before the ball hits the floor. It hit the floor, bounced a couple of times, then he kicked it.
Gary Gould's frustration won't be helped by the fact that the last 5 penalties have all been conceded by his team.
No hands! No, not yet.
Parsons to Atwood.
Keep rolling!
Up against opponents who were once friends. They still are friends, but not in a sporting sense for the next hour or so. Wilson rolls up towards halfway. Elevated to Stuart Lancaster's senior England squad from the Saxons over the last week or so, with the retirement of Matt Stevens. And into touch from Dan Robson, heading into the final 60 seconds of this first half.
There you go, lads.
So when you realise you're in a good state, can you hear the shed? That other side of the field's been almost silent for 15 minutes. Bath's performance has been probably one of the best of the season so far.
Since feeds Donald.
Ruck now!
Taken on again by Ferns. Parsons to the Welshman, Paul James.
No hands!
Facing David Flatman, who's leading a more sedentary life these days, looking after the communications department.
No, one!
Vesti fires it out to his old Leicester mucker Hipkiss. It's the final half a minute. Took Stephen Donald half a minute to score Bath's first try right at the start of the match. They extended that lead to 10-0 at one point. Since then, the story has been of a Gloucester fight back through Freddie Burns' penalties, but in more recent times, Bath have been restoring some semblance of dominance, but that's brought to an end by another forward pass.
Yeah, it was forward, but I think that Gloucester knocked that on in the breakdown. They got a man on the ball, he lifted it, and then when he knew he was off his feet, he let go and it rolled forward. It doesn't matter now, half-time.
Highlight of the half, the thing that started it, Oz, the try for Stephen Donald.
Yeah, and I think he's shown what Bath are all about. A little bit of attacking flair, great control, but Gloucester have got to come out and show more intensity and physicality. They're at home. They're here at Kingshover. They're not playing like that. They need more energy. Otherwise, Bath, with that control and forward strength, could well take this match.
Matt Banahan will help us analyse that opening 40 minutes once we're back. Half-time, Gloucester 6, Bath 10.
A couple of penalties and start putting a bit of pressure on them, so hopefully we can go out and sort of carry that momentum, because I think whoever gets the first score is probably going to be quite important, you know, so we could do with getting it.
OK, well, thanks, Charlie, and all the very best with your injury. Hopefully see you back very soon.
Thanks very much, cheers.
OK, Nick, Austin and Ben, back to you.
Thanks, Sarah. Charlie White's got some very sharp knives at the moment, not just Charlie, but Ollie Morgan, Johnny May as well. Still got James Simpson-Daniel, 175th Premiership appearance for him today, equalling Peter Buxton's record for the club. And the man filling Charlie Sharple's shirt needs a slightly bigger jersey. Shane Monaghan came up through Ireland's under-20s with the likes of Keith Earls. Scored his first Gloucester try at the Kassam Stadium last Sunday. Nigel Davies, once a very classy international centre of his own in his playing days. Elegant midfielder. Swap the Scarlets for the Cherry and Whites this season. And his new charges with a little as Freddie Burns gets us back underway. He was tipped back towards the visitors by their number 8 Simon Taylor, just turned 33, the Scotsman. And this is Gloucester's fullback today, Rob Cook, former Pirate, to Nick Abendanen, who, if he had the chance to kick again, would very much take that chance.
Gloucester have gone. Really good play by the Cherry and Whites. Put the ball into Monaghan's hands.
He's rather isolated, and Ben Skirving almost secured the ball back for Bath, but it remains Gloucester possession right up to the point that Tom Savage was then shuttled into touch.
That was a poor option. Robson's hurt himself in the process. I think the call probably came from Savage. Fancied his chances, but Bath had D'd up well, got numbers round that side. Always very difficult to attack down the blind side when the rest of your teammates don't know that you go in that way.
By the way, that Brett Sturgis has scored for the Chiefs. He doesn't score many. It's his first for a couple of years, but the prop has got one against the champions. The Chiefs back ahead at Sandy Park. They kicked off at 3 o'clock.
James's cross, he knocked that on as he went to ground. A bit stripped from his hands, but really good carry from the former Osprey.
Still scoreless, by the way, at the Medeski. The other 3 o'clock kickoff this afternoon. London Irish 0, Northampton 0. Tomorrow, Wasps against Worcester. And our second helping, London Welsh against Saracens, live here on ESPN HD.
Touch, set. Ball's out.
Well, the ball was free, and Robson was snaffled by Claessens.
Blue 9 knock on.
South African knocked it on in his eagerness to get to the ball, but it remains a problem, this, for Gloucester.
James gets Harden here. Watch this. The pressure comes on, and look at him go for the ribs. Cuts underneath, pops him up.
Blue doesn't come round the outside.
Harden's having a real hard time at the coalface today.
James seemed to lose his grip there, though, and was almost binding on the flank. Are you allowed to do that?
Who, James did, or
Yeah,
Harden?
look, James, I'd be interested to have another look at that. I thought James actually lost his grip. Well,
Struggling to get his... See, he struggled to get his grip at the top, so he went underarm on the side. Good recovery.
in that previous scrum, I'm sure he was actually in the end holding on to Sione Kalamafoni, the 6. That is not now, it's gone, but keep an eye on it. Oh, Abendinen knocks it on.
Not the best 3 minutes of Nick Abendinen's rugby career.
Austin.
Well, just if you want to have a closer look, Nick, if you look back here, he's slid around the outside. I don't know much about scrimmaging, but I know full well you're not allowed to hold in the flanker like that. And the touch judge spotted it, actually, and told the ref. And he watched the next scrum. He didn't slide around the channel as much.
The difficulty is that if the prop starts to go in, it's very difficult to keep hold of him because you're on the outside. So if the tight head on the inside goes in, it's unnatural to get your arm to go across towards the hooker. So a bit of con work there from James.
That's a better Gloucester scrum, coached as they are these days by Tony Window, former player. Excelled during his time here. 12 trees, took the ball in. Not had a great deal of quick possession to work off, the kind of possession that Gloucester excel in. Big hit coming in from Simon Taylor. This is Harden.
Away!
Robson taken on by Akapusi and Guerra. Robson again, penalties coming. Robson's digging for it. Taylor was in the way.
That's one of those, it's a penalty, but Robson's asking for a bit more, but Taylor couldn't move. Every time he tried to roll, Robson stood on him, put him straight back where he'd just come from.
He celebrated his son's birthday, Lucas, remember, a couple of weeks ago. Played a couple of hours later against Northampton. He's still a tough old character, Simon Taylor, yeah, and he needs to be tough here.
For a Gloucester man lying on top of him, he's trying to get away. It's a penalty, but the penalty was just from the tackle technique, which left him on the wrong side of the breakdown in the first place.
Ollie Barkley won't be adding to his Premiership total this season. He's now in Paris, but Freddie Burns very much will. It's from a testing angle. And in the end, the angle was just a little bit too much. Gloucester are making a change. Tom Savage has been replaced by Will James. 35, seems to turn 36, so an early change in this second half.
I think it'll give them a bit more physicality at the breakdown, Ben. A little bit more intensity as well. He's a very intense player.
Burns, high. Vesti comes up to take it. And Monaghan got there first. And then it was snaffled by Morgan to make sure that Monaghan's hard work didn't go wasted. And Guerra. Trinder trying to find some gaps. Burns. And then threaded through.
Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out who's responded to their half-time team talk the better. Bath have come out, they've been sloppy, they've made a few errors. Gloucester have come out, been very focused, kept the ball well, and then realised that there's nothing on, so they prod the ball back in behind the blue shirts, make them throw into their own line out just 10 metres away from the try line.
I'm impressed by the work rate of Calmafoni, haven't you? Gets around the field really well for a 6, big guy.
Won by Dominic Day. He's impressing everyone since he arrived from the Scarlets at the start of the season. Monaghan. It's a tough one for Cook. And Simpson Daniel. Trinder got it away quickly to 12 trees. Uses his strength to see off the tacklers and hold on to possession. And Guerra. Will James, the replacement to the number 8, Ben Morgan.
Backwards.
Grew up in the sheds, sitting on his dad's shoulders. Playing now for the club he supported as a lad. Burns to Hamilton.
4.
This is, it's been an encouraging start to the second half by the home team. Wood rather shoveled that pass away, but Gloucester still have the bullet to play with. The Wallaby Hugh Edmonds, last of his 4 caps a couple of years ago now against Wales.
It's good momentum by Morgan, just putting on, and they again attack through that same channel. Bath defence is good. All Gloucester players down that left-hand side, apart from Monaghan on this wing. It's not so testing for the defensive line.
Safe, lads.
Edmonds to Burns. Where's he going? Oh, he goes around Day brilliantly to 12 trees. Door of Bath's defence just beginning to creak a little bit under all this pressure. James took it into contact again, and Edmonds not the best. Clarson's to Donald. And that's a kick up to Gloucester's 10-metre line, but it's plucked out of the air by Rob Cook. On his bike, picked up by Vesti. Kicked the ball away in extremis. Didn't get it very far at all, and will allow Monaghan to burst onto it. Monaghan on the charge. No one will stop him, surely. Monaghan scores!
It's a double movement, isn't it? Biggs. Oh! Biggs' defence, superb. He eyed him up, he didn't panic. He timed his run to perfection. I think he's done enough, Biggs, but I might be wrong.
Well, if he hasn't, that was all about strength and perseverance and determination. He's took a blow along the way, but if he has scored, that is something else from Shane Monaghan.
David, they don't drop off many tackles, Bath, so far in this game, but it's Donald who drops off the first tackle.
Any reason not to award the try?
Correct.
So any reason not to award the try? I don't know how far back they'll go, but he makes the initial breakthrough, Donald, and then breaks free, and you think for all money he's got there, but Biggs is such a good defender, isn't he? Gets underneath the ball, he's down, he's almost ripped it off him there, but he gets it back on the floor. Now then, is this 2 movements? He's still moving, his momentum stopped. No, that's no try. His hand comes through now.
Sensational defence from Biggs. They might cheer at the shed, but you've got to still be moving. You've still got to have your momentum.
No. I'm not in charge of it now.
No, definitely not.
Too far away.
Well, if you want defining moments in a match, it's that tackle from Biggs. May prove to be so important. I don't know why the Gloucester guys have dropped back. If you look now, he's stopped, he's on his back, the ball's on his chest. He's got no forward momentum. It's a good 3 seconds. It's the actual ruck that carries him through.
What's the definition? It's placing it immediately,
No,
I think.
you
Is
get
it?
one go.
Still have momentum as well, don't you?
No, you can have one
No, you
go
don't
when
have
your
to be
momentum
moving.
stopped.
You can be stopped
In my
and then
view,
stretch
the
out.
grounding
Here we
of the
go.
ball is not immediate following the tackle.
Yeah. The word's immediate.
Let me just check. You're saying that on the first grounding, he was short of the line.
Correct.
Therefore, the second grounding, illegal.
Correct.
Thank you very much. No
It's
try.
the view of David Grasshoff, and the charge for the line in the end was a fruitless one, and the tackle of Biggs was enormous.
It's the timing of the run. Because if he'd gone to his full pace, I think he would have got there at the same time as the other defenders and bounced himself off. He wouldn't have got as good a tackle in.
No,
he timed his run perfection.
I think what happened was the arc that he had to make to get around the defenders on his inside took him too close to Biggs. And because you're running that arc, you're slightly off balance. As you watch here now, the pass comes out, and he steps, goes inside. Donald chases him, just drops off the tackle there, steps through. Now this arc that he has to run takes him closer. Now he tries to turn away. The timing of Biggs is excellent. He doesn't get blocked out by the inside tackler.
It's the control, because if he'd tackled his legs or from behind, he still would have had the momentum to go over, but he got on the ball, got underneath the ball.
Gloucester are going again, though, because Skirvin couldn't gather the line out. Morgan to Burns to Twelvetrees. They're running with some real purpose now. James Simpson-Daniel with Cook outside him. He comes inside instead. He's tackled by Abendinen. Burns just beginning to pull the strings, just beginning to look really threatening, and then the big hit coming in from Day on Morgan. It was actually James, that was Morgan. This is Ngera. Here goes Robson, picked up by Huia Edmonds. Trinder, Cook. If he could have got the ball away, Simpson-Daniel was in splendid isolation. Penalties coming.
I think it's just a knock-on.
Oh, it is just a knock-on. So they'll get the scrum. Now that's gone. This is Morgan. And this is Twelvetrees. And this is Monaghan again. A lot of work to do. And Biggs again flies in. This time he misses the giant-sized Irishman. Morgan.
Gloucester trying to offload in the tackle a lot more, take the defender out of the equation, and then try and keep going with numbers.
Ngera was waiting to be brought in by Trinder. Wasn't on that movement. Now then they're spreading it. Simpson-Daniel, they've got to score here, and they will score with Cook, and they're right back in the mix in front of the shed.
Brilliant by Simpson-Daniel. Saw the runner coming towards him, the defender coming towards him, out of the line.
Rob Cook's first try in cherry and white. It's going to be checked. We're going to get video confirmation, but if
try yes or no.
David Grassoff sees nothing wrong with this, is it a try, yes or no, then Cook's on Gloucester's board.
I think it's a good job Dave Pearce has said that this is his last game, because there's a fair chance if this isn't awarded, he won't get out of here alive. The shed will eat him. There's a good Donald steps out the line. Simpson-Daniel's timing of the pass is exquisite. It's a great finish.
Just the way that little step, he holds Donald, makes Donald think he's in for a big tackle, steps outside him, creates the overlap on the outside. Brilliant footwork.
Dave, you may award the try.
Fortunately for the future of Dave Pearson, he doesn't have to disallow the try. He won't be eaten by the shed, not just yet anyway. And Nigel Davis's team are ahead for the first time, and there are one or two issues injury-wise for Bath as well, because meantime Michael Claessen's being replaced as we have another look at the score.
Yeah, it's Donald, he flies out of the line, and Simpson-Daniel just uses the weight of the ball to drift off it, having held Donald with a little step.
Claessen's clearly took a blow in the build-up to that. Bath also preparing to bring on Will Skews. Oh, what a conversion! What a conversion! The noise will tell you this match has turned.
Sam, just wait, please.
Now this is Will Skews who's coming on. We think Michael Claessen's was knocked out, by the way, in the build-up to the try. That's the reason he's gone off, so he's gone off to have one of those pitch-side concussion assessments. Morgan to Burns. Skews with an immediate intervention that might have been interesting, but it rebounded into the arms of Akapusi and Guerra. Robson to Morgan.
Yep.
And this is a Bendenon.
Forwards. Think that's once. Coming up.
Morgan again to a Bendenon. It's confirmation that Mark McMillan is on, perhaps temporarily for Claessens, perhaps not.
Red.
Simon Taylor made way for Will Skews. This is Eastman's over halfway.
Lost.
Got a cracking little game going on here now. Oh, the burst through from Ferns. So quick, the support wasn't there, but it is now.
That's one. Use.
Skews to Donald. This is hip kiss.
No hands.
McMillan. Tend not to be overly busy when you're shadowing Michael Claessens, but he's got an opportunity here with more than a quarter of the match to go. Donald to Ferns, who set the whole thing up.
Bath line just getting a little bit flat. Good footwork from James to get half through.
First man. Now two, you're off it. The first man is going to use. That's one.
McMillan slaps it away to Mears.
Lost.
This is Atwood. Freddie Burns rather barreled out of the way. Again, Ferns, who's been instrumental
No hands,
in this latest push towards the cherry and white line. Wilson. Laid back for McMillan. Lots of possession. How much incision? Perhaps a little bit more now with Eastman, and then Biggs. Gloucester's defence remains pretty firm. McMillan, the ball was forward as he tried to find Paul James.
You will not speak to the officials and appeal like that again, please. Thank you. Of course we are. Yes, I am. We're not playing cricket, Jim. Forward pass.
Awesome.
Just want to have a little look back at the try, actually, and show you what happens if you don't step out the line. So we highlight Donald there. Look, they are a bit short on numbers. When you're short on numbers, if you're not going to get to the ball, you shouldn't step out the line, because what it means is your inside defence can't fill in for you. So as he steps in, the gap on the inside becomes too great, so they don't use the touchline. So the cover defence can't get all the way to use the touchline as the last defender, and that's what creates the space. Missed a couple of tackles. All in all, had a pretty good game, though, Donald.
The score updates. Nick Evans has scored a try, so he's adding to his points total early season to have the champions back ahead at Sandy Park. Jonathan Joseph and David Pace scoring the tries for the Exiles at home to the Saints. Both those matches kicked off at 3 o'clock, so approaching half-time.
What a confidence builder that'll be for London Irish.
Been a massive win.
No, the big appeal from everybody.
With extra pressure on Sale at the bottom.
Oh.
Sean Knight's preparing to come on in the front row, and that's Jimmy Cowan as well. Swapped his all black strip for a cherry and white one. Very natty it looks too.
Yeah, doesn't it? It's lovely.
It's not sequined enough for you, Austin, I know, but
Not the sequence, Nick.
smart enough.
If you can squeeze into him.
It's going to be fascinating to see how Jimmy Cowan beds down into the Premiership. He's the type of player, Austin, that you would expect will thrive here.
Yeah, I think he's a really good all-round scrum half. Big battles with Weepu over the years for that 9 shirt. But for me, just a little bit more complete. He's got a good kicking game. He attacks around the fringes, good pass. all you'd expect from a world-class number 9 who played for New Zealand. What a good signing.
By the way, Michael Claessens is back on, having been assessed by the doctors who say he's fit and healthy to resume, so Mark McMillan gives way. Dan Robson for the time being remains Gloucester scrum half, but not for much longer, as we've seen, as they try and build from deep. Trinder with the boots. Benderman chases the kick, taken by Morgan brilliantly, gathered and got away in one movement. Robson was looking for his options. He was looking for Burns. He wasn't entirely sure where he was, and Burns eventually finds 12 trees. Benderman again with Biggs on his wingtip. Sets the Jets going. The Jets have taken him over halfway, and then he was just held back a little bit by Monaghan. It was clever from the Irish defender. It gave the scrum half Dan Robson just a little bit more time as Biggs bore down on him.
Stay on it, safe, lad.
Not had a bad 5 minutes, Biggs, has he?
Use!
And in the end, 12 trees clears away. It wasn't a massive intervention, but it was just enough to hold Biggs up a second or so.
Yeah, definitely did the right thing to kick ahead, put the pressure on, and then once they were down there, Claessens flies at 12 trees, puts him off, and they get the line out now on the 22 rather than further towards the halfway.
So Dan Robson makes way, but what a schooling he's going to get over what's left of this season, because one of the recent greats at the artist scrum half play, the All Black Jimmy Cowan's on. 51st New Zealand cap against Argentina in the World Cup. Quarter-final at Eden Park, then Piriwipu and Andy Ellis were rather preferred on the way to winning the trophy, but one of the recent greats and playing now for Gloucester.
Whether defence well there, Gloucester, or you can't come in and lift a leg like that. Having good lift, telling the referee.
Mears. Cowan's first intervention is to try and bring Mears down. It's picked up by Morgan. This is Monaghan. 12 trees, away quickly by Trinder, and Eastman with the hit. Is that what's concerning Dave Pearson? No, it's the forward pass that concerned him. So just beginning to get a little bit tasty. And the ball finally came to rest.
A big turnover.
Forward pass.
It's a big bugbear of mine as well. They're so marginal. When these get out of the channel, the momentum, you're shifting at such pace. See, I think that's not a forward pass. Momentum rule has got to carry. If your hand's pushing the ball backwards, let the play go on.
Time out, Mike.
I think we know what Nigel Davies thinks of it. Well, it wouldn't have, his retirement day wouldn't have been complete without a chorus of "you don't know what you're doing" from the shed. So Dave Pearson can go out with a smile on his face. And who started with Ashington thirds against Gisborough thirds a few years ago, now saying goodbye. Certainly as somebody who'll get dressed up in his referee's outfit every weekend. Publicly, anyway.
I wondered where you were going with that then.
This is Will Spencer, 20-year-old lot who we've not seen much of. He's only played 5 minutes in the Premiership so far, the last 5 minutes of the final game last season against Leicester, and he takes the place in the second row of Dominic Day. Into the final quarter of a match that remains very much in the balance. So Burns against Donald. Where's this gone statistically? Stephen Donald with the earliest of tries. Let's see what they've been up to subsequently.
Burns has run more, but Donald's run was pretty decisive, wasn't it, with that try early on. But those bottom two missed tackles, I think that the one for the try was pretty decisive as well. So mixed bag for Donald. Certainly can't question his commitment today, though.
Touch. Set.
Claessen's back on at scrum half. Scrum remains a contest, but they've gone down the blind side and it's picked up by Skirving. And if he'd have given it to Claessen's, South African scrum half might have been able to nip in, but as it is, they're going to have to rebuild. Eastman to Ferns. Again, Claessen's to James, held up by a combination of first Burns and then Nick Wood. Donald across the face of the defence to Biggs, and then that went forward.
They've just lost a bit of their composure, Bath. In the first half, when things were going well, people were carrying, everyone knew their role. Now it's almost a bit of hesitation. People are going, where's the ball going? Is it coming to me? And they're stood still. No one's taking the ball at real pace like they were early on.
Well, they've stopped that simple framework of wrap pattern, so split the pack into 2 pods, wrap the first one, then the second one, maybe go with 1 more around the corner and then give the back some space. As Ben said, when you start to lose that pattern and players lose direction, you can't do the flash stuff, you can't score those tries.
Dan Murphy is busying himself, preparing to come on. We saw Corey Britton on his bike in the background as well. This is Murphy. He'll be coming on for Nick Wood fairly shortly. The bench a lot after joining from London Irish last season, but we're about to have another look at him. That's the newest of new boys, Jimmy Cowan, on his Gloucester debut. Leads the scrum. So a half-time score from Sandy Park and a half-time score from the Medeski Stadium that will raise a few eyebrows.
1 and 2 red.
So there's the change. Here's Dan Murphy. Nick Wood has put in a shift today. It's been so competitive in the front row, and young Corey Britton, the 20-year-old, replaces the Wallaby Huir Edmonds. And Davidjuk, by the way, amongst Gloucester's walking wounded at the moment. So Britton gets a go, and this is Ngera driving through Biggs, eventually hauled down by Atwood.
No look.
Cowan. Oh, that's well done. This is Morgan charging up to the 22. Trinder did brilliantly to hang on to it. Cowan flicks it away. Murphy. Where's Cowan going with this one? It's been stolen by Claessen's. Pickpocketed.
The ball went slapped out the scrum half's hands, Cowan. That's what he's asking. What a break from Gloucester, though. The swing of momentum. Gloucester, the opposite of Bath, have started to put that fast carry. Watch this from Callum Afoni. Gets in behind the player, knows exactly where Morgan is behind him, and just leaves it in the air for Morgan to run onto at pace. Suddenly the scramble defence is under real pressure.
As it plays on, it's nice hands actually by the 2 front row replacements, but then as we see here, ball's in the scrum half's hands. You can't jump through and do that and pull it out. That's a clear penalty. Dave Pearson's let quite a few things go today. I know it's his last game. I don't want to be overly critical of him, but he's had a shocker.
A couple of changes in the Bath front row just to bring you up to speed with confirmation on the screen. Anthony Peronisi coming on for David Wilson, and Lee Mears, the hooker, makes way for Ross Batty. Stephen Donald, we're hearing, is skippering the side now in the absence of Lee Mears, who was skippering in the absence of Stuart Hooper, who's injured today. Cowan to Simpson Daniel. Cowan again. Burns, Trinder. Hipkiss was up quickly. Sione Kalamafoni. Morgan, once again, England number 8 had an energetic games. Ngera hit back by Atwood and company. Might open up a little bit here, though. Burns to 12 trees. Monaghan. If he'd given that, they would have scored. You're tempted to think.
Not sure he had control of the ball. Properly to get it out into his hands to deliver an accurate pass.
Skews burrowing over the top to try and slow it down as much as possible. Bath's defence in line.
Biggs is frantically shouting for his defenders to get out wide because Gloucester have got extra width.
Cowan to Burns, and Biggs was up quickly, and how well did he do? Had to get that right, and he gets it again, and he gets it away, and he's fired to the floor by Corey Britton. What a game defensively Tom Biggs has had today.
Well, he was screaming for his defenders to come out. He could see the problem that Gloucester had kept their width, but Bath had all shuffled in. Look how many they've got around the breakdown there. And if he hadn't stepped in, that would have been a certain try on the outside.
Awesome.
Well, you mentioned the influence of Biggs, and strangely we've just been clipping up what he does. Just two incidents that are game changers. Go back to the try-saver tackle, look at the work rate he has. Comes all the way across. For a guy who's not the biggest in stature, his work rate is phenomenal out wide. And this again, look, from nowhere he's boxed in, but he creates something. He beats tackles, offloads, makes the right decision to kick so he doesn't get caught wide, isolated, chases hard. There's a certain left wing position that's available for England at the minute, and I don't want to push his cause too hard because we keep doing that with a lot of players, but few are playing better rugby than him out wide.
Hugo Monya's not playing badly, yeah.
Hugo, yeah.
Monya's not playing badly.
Different type of player, depends what you want. The balance with Ashton on the other side, you'd think he'd get picked on the right wing. Danny Hipkiss after the whistle had a big collision with Freddie Burns.
Interesting as well, because they've got Horacio Aguja to come once the Pumas have finished with the championship. Aguja moving from Leicester to Bath over the summer, so they're going to squeeze them all in with Eastman as well. They're going to have some options.
There's that chance for Monaghan. Does he have the ball secure? I think he just makes the wrong decision to cut in slightly. Tries to hold the defenders and create that 3-on-2 overlap. He carries the ball.
Yeah, the situation is, as he took the ball, he tucked it under one hand. Great lesson for kids watching. Whenever you catch it, keep the ball in two hands. Give yourself the option to move the defender with your hands rather than your body. Definite opportunity in that wide channel. And here's
this is why we're having a bit of a break. Hipkiss and Burns.
After the whistle as well, thanks very much.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that again, actually.
It's good to see Dan Hipkiss getting an extended run in the team for pretty much the first time since he arrived from Leicester. He started all 6 games so far at the start of this season.
Got a few good impacts in this game as well. Flown out of the line on occasions. He reads plays very well, and he's got the acceleration to fly out of the line and get man and ball. He's stopped a couple of the Gloucester attacks. Been good at staying on his feet, that we know he can do, and driving through the contact.
Gloucester edging second half possession, and
tells the tale
on the scoreboard as well.
Tells the tale, doesn't it? Because there's been such a swing in momentum. Gloucester look far more potent at the moment with ball in hand.
Simpson Daniel as well. Swap wings, come down to the short side channel. A bit more pace than Monaghan. Gives you the option really to go down that short side, give him a one-on-one with Biggs, or put a cross-field kick in and isolate Kyle Eastman, who's a lot shorter than Monaghan.
And Dave Pearson was thinking about blowing against the Bath front row, I think. He wanted to give Gloucester the opportunity to get the ball out. They didn't get it out, they didn't use it, and as a result, Bath will have possession.
Yeah, Perenisi's come on to add his weight where Wilson left off, but James again, massive drive through his shoulders, and his side wheels round. It's a huge turnover.
Matt Banahan was singing his praises before the game when we were off air, saying what a big star he's going to be in the future for Bath.
Who? Paul James.
Yeah, James.
Away by Claessens.
They're mature later in the front row.
This is good. Yeah. He's about 45. He's been around a while, Paul
I know,
James.
but he just said he's a big star at the minute.
Definitely one for the future.
Okay, I won't use the word future again when looking forward.
In his DeLorean.
I'd like to put you in a DeLorean and send you back to the future, or back to the past where your clothes
He's
are.
going to have Michael J. Fox back in the box again, isn't he, with his
bit small.
Skin-tight jeans and his white sneakers. Good old Michael. Where's your hoverboard, Oz?
Nick, you know the rules full well. You can take the mick out of almost anything, but not fashion when you come to every game as a geography teacher.
There's Paul James.
Looks older than
Right, he looks older than 17, doesn't he? He does.
He had a tough paper round in the Gaza Strip.
That's the third time they've tried that. And Lou Bath have cottoned on. They get away with it though.
Guerra got through the tackle of Ferns, and not many would have done that today. Burns to 12 trees as Trinder offered himself and still going.
Not back by Blue, okay?
A couple of injuries at the back end of last season seemed to interrupt the progress that Henry Trinder was making, but he's certainly heading in the right direction again.
And Gloucester have got a bit of width on the Bath defence here. They need to get that depth so that the winger can't fly out of the line and stop it.
Guerra to Burns to 12 trees. Thought of kicking, decided to use Trinder again, and it's opening up for Monaghan. Oh, and the tackle came in, but ball was back inside to Trinder. Now, did he get that down? No, foot was in touch. But there's been some very smart business going on for both sides down in that right-hand corner over the course of the match, and
I want to check that one.
this time it was Monaghan and Trinder conspiring.
They do. They use that extra depth, which means Biggs can't fly out the line. Eventually, he's tempted into the tackle. Good cover defence. Oh, I think he got that away. I would have certainly liked to have gone upstairs and had a look.
Yeah, he definitely gets it away. I've just seen this angle. The ball goes before he's in touch. There, he's off the ground as well.
Brilliant offload. Deserved better. Robin
It's a try.
Makes the bad call.
It's a try. It would have been a try. You can hit the corner flag now as long as you're not in touch.
We've been to the TMO for everything today. The one that it was useful for.
There's another good angle. As you see, nice pass, gets to the last man. He's in the air when he offloads this. Trinder takes it back, and as Trinder goes, if we keep watching, is he in touch? No, no, that's a try.
Brilliant offload from Monaghan.
They've been hard done by today, Gloucester, on a few occasions.
It was Robin Goodliff, the touch judge on this near side, who was quickly up with his flag in the air. He had to make a decision immediately, and he made that decision, but as we've seen, tough decisions to make sometimes, and it was a significant one from a Gloucester point of view because it cost them a try, but they're going to get another opportunity from the scrum.
Yeah, McMillan, the tap ball, really good pressure from Jim Hamilton, getting the plaudits of his teammates. They know how much pressure they put on the Bath line out. It was tapped back, and McMillan, who's only just come back on, put under real pressure, steps into his own man, trying to get through the traffic. Look at this, Hamilton up in front. The good pressure from the back, flooding through. What can Gloucester do against a pack that's been pushing them around a bit today? Can they keep it secure enough to let these backs have another go at the Bath line?
Nathan Catt on in the Bath front row, closest to us for Paul James. Catt up against Sean Knight. Penalty goes against the Bath scrum.
Good decision. It's a tough one for Jim Hamilton now. What do? Take the points, get 6 points away, or do you go for the scrum, which hasn't been brilliant all afternoon, but there's just a hint, particularly in that last penalty, that they might be turning the tide. They go for the scrum.
There's Nathan Catt, learning from new voices this season. Toby Booth, Neil Hatley, Paul James as well. Becoming a better scrummager as a result, but he's under real pressure here.
He was under immense pressure. Been really impressed with Sean Knight since he came on. Got tight head. Placing Harden, who was struggling a bit with Paul James. Catt really struggling to get his bind at that last scrum. Got a loose bind on the front of the shirt.
Sean Knight, young tight head, used to hold up the same England under-20 scrum as Joe Marler. Marler was on the other side. Good shape for his position, and he's making an immediate impact here.
And the pressure will be on Dave Pearson here now. Oh, they almost lose.
They have lost it ultimately.
Handling back. 17 red, hands in the scrum.
And it's Dan Murphy who's given a consoling pat on the head by Carl Ferns.
Hands in the scrum.
Austin's been building something up in his little cubby hole, so we'll be opening his door again fairly shortly. Os.
Thanks for letting me out, Nick. Very kind of you. But I just wanted to look back, turning point. Gloucester don't come away with any points from that. Just look at this. I mean, this is why we've got the TMO. We've criticised it, we've had a go, sometimes it's worked. The prime time you should use it, it's 100% try. And that'll be so frustrating if Gloucester don't go on to win this match.
It's a big debate, though. Can you overrule the touch judge who's put his flag up, who's made the decision already? They're going to have a review at the end of this first 6-week batch of matches, but I'm not sure they're going to go that far.
The referee would be able to, yeah.
To Burns. What, you're suggesting the TMO can come on and say the touch judge got it wrong?
The referee can say, do you want to check it?
Yeah, OK, yeah. Anyway, that's...
Don't play 9, don't play 9!
It's a good debate to have once this match is finished, because this match is still very much in the balance as we enter the final 7 minutes. Corey Britton into the 22.
This is strong by Gloucester. They need to make sure they stay on their feet if they're going to hit with the forwards.
Burns, drop goal. And through. And in a game that is as tight as a drum, that might be the decisive moment. He's not been at his brilliant best today, Freddie Burns, but he might have struck the decisive blow.
It's a good decision by him. The execution, as it goes through, it's an ugly but effective kick. You see this? It's a spiral drop goal, very difficult skill to perform. But the right decision at the right time.
Now it's about getting your kick-off drills right and getting out of here. It's a much poorer kick chase from Bath this time, but not a great clearance.
Gloucester 6 points ahead, 6 minutes to go for Bath to rescue a situation. Macmillan, this is Nathan Katz.
Away!
Atwood, quickly on to Ferns, who shoves Trinder out of the way. Donald, who's trying after 32 seconds, get the bun fight underway. Silenced the shed initially for much of the first half. It was Bath in the ascendancy, but second half belonged very much to Gloucester so far. Perenisi, ball went backwards off him, so Cat was able to resuscitate the move. Donald, Eastman. Not seen much of him as an attacking threat so far this afternoon. This is Batty. Tackled hard and low by Morgan on the 22, who's had another solid game, Ben Morgan. This is Spence, 20-year-old lock. Donald cuts inside, 12 Trees holds on to him, but Donald's still going, he's still going. Somebody has to bring him down, they do now. Macmillan. Again, taken on by Spencer. He's only played 5 Premiership minutes before coming into the fray this afternoon. And he's right in the thick of things here as Bath look to strike back in the final 5 minutes.
Well, Bath have got a big overlap. Carl Ferns on the outside. If they can get this back, looks like they've lost it. Simpson Daniel was panicking on his wing because he had both Eastman and Ferns in front of him in acres of space. But Gloucester putting probably too many numbers in for Simpson Daniel's liking, but it's okay if you come up with the goods and turn the opposition over. It's Cat who takes it in, big drive for the line. Does he go too far? You see the extra bodies in the red shirts coming in to support. Great turnover on the floor.
Yeah, go on.
Months ago, Mike Ford was sorting out England's defence at the World Cup. Now he's wandering along with the rest of us if Bath's attack can snatch a score that might yet snatch all the points.
First man.
It's actually a really nice break from Donald. He shows the ball outside, steps left foot, sees the cover come in, steps again left foot, goes inside, and then he meets his old mate Jimmy Cowan. You think Cowan's going to take him down? No way. Shrugs him off, keeps going through, good leg power. Do you know what? I got stuck into him heavily last season, really heavily, because I just couldn't believe how poor he was, but I've been mightily impressed today, really shocked me. Could just find his way in this league and prove to be that marquee signing that Bath needed.
And they need him to do that as well, because they're having to fill the hole left by Ollie Barkley. 81 points he's contributed already this season, Barkley, but he's in Paris now. Donald has got to stand up, and he has done today. At the moment, it's going to be a losing effort as former All Black compadre Cowans gets the ball away to Abendon, and it might open up here. Jack Cuthbert, who's come on, was in a little bit of space. McMillan to Ferns, slips out of the tackle of Morgan. Monaghan was bowled out of the way. Still on the floor, Gloucester's defence shorn of Monaghan's presence for the time being.
Slow round the corner.
Atwood got out of the way. This is Eastmond.
Yeah, the Gloucester forwards not quick enough round the breakdown to support. Bath are just starting to get a few numbers on the flanks.
Yeah, lads, it's there. Let it come red.
Ball's there. McMillan can switch out and get it. He does eventually. Taken on by Skews. Held on. Bath frustration typified by Ross Batty.
Callum Mahoney with the turnover. He's had a great game, hasn't he?
I think we'll see in the replay it's Jimmy 12 trees.
10 blue. 10 blue replacement, please.
Whose twin brother Billy 12 trees is actually playing. I love Jimmy, but if you watch 12 trees, swings his body round, there he goes, straight over the ball.
That's the pair of them, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the top turnover for Gloucester. He's had more turnovers than any of the back row 12 trees this season so far.
Might have been Morgan, actually, was the other player.
No, it was the back, Ben. It was the back that turned over at the crucial time that made the big influence in the game. One of the forwards was there, admittedly, but had no influence.
Game's changed, doesn't it? Backs in contact.
Interesting change. I think Stephen Donald's just emptied the tank. He has given everything today. Ollie Devoto is on.
Backwards.
James winning the line out. Final 2 minutes. Corey Britton.
Safe, lads. Fernsey, shut up. Touch and flight, all on side.
Cowan. Ball was caught, and this is Simpson-Daniel. Whoa. Driven over the top, and Bath will have it. They'll have the penalty.
Counter up over you.
Looks initially as if the chase of James Simpson-Daniel might lead to something, but Bath's defence was there and insistent that it wouldn't. Devoto doesn't find any distance with the kick to touch. Coming of age for him, marked by the inclusion in England's under-20 squad, but there's nothing like a coming of age in front of the shed, and Devoto's just had one of those moments. Batty. Ball's been stolen by Will James. The old man of the team might well have made sure of a home win.
Yeah, and they've set a nice drive up here. They're going to run as much of the clock down as they can. Just keep marching it forward.
Jimmy Cowan's debut in Cherry and White looks like it's going to be a winning debut. Burns hoists it. Bath will have one last opportunity to snatch it at the death. Time's almost up. The ball's loose. 12 trees has it. Gloucester will have the win. They can find touch if they can find... Oh, they've given it away! It was Cowans who gave it to Ferns. Well, if Bath go and run this ball 60 metres to score now,
Last 19 up, brother.
there'll be no one more determined than Jimmy Cowans to see this one safely into touch. Devoto kicks it away. Cowans might get that opportunity. He feeds it to Cook, who fires it towards the shed, who are in full voice.
Oh, Ollie Devoto, what a shocker.
And the next time Bath come to Kingsholm, it'll be 7 years since they last won.
Given 2 lifelines, Bath. First the penalty, they didn't get the kick to the corner right, they gave the ball away, it was given back to them, and then they kicked it away. Gary Gold obviously not happy with some of the decisions.
Oh, I think that Bath actually had a little bit of the benefit in decisions today. I think Gloucester could have won that by 10, 15 points. Their intensity and physicality in the